HPB says that Hercules was the last incarnation of one of the 7 lords of the flame. I know. He's really something. This is really a huge personality, right? Or being. And he incarnated as Krishna's brother even. He was referred to as the Lord of the Race. An occult doctrine, she says that he incarnated during the Lemurian, Atlantean, and Aryan races. So from India, these legends go to Egypt, and from there to Greece. Now, HPB says something really interesting about the biographies of great ones. She says they all have similarities because they are not the outer biography, but the inner process. This is what we see. It's the inner life that gives importance to what is something that is going to be passed on. Generation after generation, nobody cares what person, who they married and what kind of problems they had. What they want to know is, how do they overcome? What is the internal story that goes on that helps them overcome all of life? And she says that these great stories are always depicted around the 12 signs of the zodiac. And we will see that in the lives of Christ and the lives of all great ones, that somehow they go through the cycle and it's depicted through the 12 signs. Very, very interesting. She says, for example, all great ones are born of divine birth or a virgin mother. That doesn't mean that it is a virgin mother. What it means is they are born from a divine father and a pure matter, purified. That is why they're called second, twice-born sons, for example. It is not the first biological birth, but it's the second, the spiritual birth that brings us to these stories. Okay? So when we are on the path of an aspirant, our life doesn't have huge significance for the world at large. But when we go on the path of discipleship and we do significant labors and service, then we see that our life has some significance. Do you see that? It has some significance for people larger than ourselves. She says also one of the running themes is that the child who is twice born or spiritually born always has some huge danger to overcome when they're babies. As soon as they're babies, they have to overcome a huge danger. And I'll tell you what happens to Hercules. We know that in the story of Jesus. He was born, and Herod says, can't have this happen, right? And so all the babies under 2 years old get killed, and his parents take him away to Egypt. Isn't that interesting? So we have that theme. We also have the theme that every great son of man who becomes a son of God is tempted through everything that they can be tempted in life to test them. And we see this temptation in the life of Buddha, Christ, Hercules, and all great ones. They're tempted, they're persecuted, they're murdered, and they go into the depth of hell, and then they resurrect themselves. This is the story. It's the pattern to show us what we need to do. Okay? So when you have a lot of problems, when I have a lot of problems coming up this year, next year, whatever, just remember it's part of the pattern. Okay, it has to happen that way until we overcome. So what is the Greek story of the legend of Hercules? Because we are going to read through the Greek stories, all these 12 labors. We are told that Zeus is the head of all the gods at Olympus. He falls in love with a mortal woman, and he impregnates her. And his wife Hera, who is a goddess, is very jealous. And she tries to prevent the birth. Look at this, preventing the forces of matter, preventing the birth of a divinity. Okay, so let's look for a minute in ourselves. Are there times in you when you are trying to give birth to the divine in you that it is trying to abort even before it starts? Find out where in your life that starts happening. Every problem in your life comes up, every subconscious recording, every pain and every miserable memory comes up as soon as you try to decide to give birth to that divine being inside of you. So this already starts with Hera saying, no way we're going to have this baby to be born. But anyway, because it's a divine being, it is born. And the mother gives him the name Heracles. or Hercules, divine gift. Isn't that beautiful?